What's up, guys? I got a sort of a first impressions video, or just early impressions video on a couple knives I got recently, and I haven't shown you guys yet. So I'm going to be talking for a bit about some different knives. The first one up here is the Spyderco Chihuahua. This is the ethnic design based on, I believe, some African people's main utility knife. And I'm really impressed by this folder. This one is a sleeper. Basically, you don't really hear too much about this knife in particular, but it is very affordable. You can find these for about just over 100, maybe 110 or so. But it's actually a really good value for that money. What you got is G10 scales, I believe stainless steel liner, and titanium frame lock. And you can see it's a pretty big size knife. And despite the ruler-like construction and form factor, it's actually quite ergonomic, which is pretty good. It's actually really light considering what it is, how big it is. It's very, very light. That comes in, from these big holes, from the, thin titanium and the thin liner. Just all that stuff comes together. And this is a really, really nice sort of portable kitchen knife type deal. Very, very good for that. I mean, this S30V blade, from what I've, done with it in the last couple days, this is blazing sharp, and it has a full flat grind. Comes to a very, very thin edge, so this is a great slicer. Really nice construction, very smooth action. This is a really impressive knife. There's nothing I really have bad against it right now. It's not the most ergonomic knife, but it's definitely a lot better than the looks would have you think. Spyderco Chihuahua. Very good value. Very good value. Next up is a discontinued knife. This is a Lone Wolf brand Longhorn. This is a mid-sized knife. I think like 3.5, 3 2/3 inch blade. But this is a really nice knife too. I got this at a pretty good price. So I even think at the price where they ask it for, like 100 or so, it's a good value. I got this for 60, so it was a screaming value for me because you're getting S30V and G10 scales with a sturdy liner lock. But this knife is actually heavier than I thought it would be. This one, for example, is significantly lighter than this knife right here, even though I think the Chihuahua is longer. Yep. But I absolutely love the blade shape on this knife. It's just very, very broad and very sweepy. But I've got a lot of positive feedback on this from non-knife people, and they say that it's very sheeple friendly, which I was surprised with, but I'm not exactly sure why they would think that about this blade, as opposed to some other blades, but that's just another plus. The grind is great so far, full flat ground, nice thumb studs, locks up very solidly. Nothing but good to say about this knife so far. Very ergonomic and very easy to carry. The only thing is I wish it had tip up, but what can you do? The Lone Wolf Longhorn, very cool knife. Too bad these are discontinued. Hopefully Benchmade starts making a model like it or similar to it. We'll see. Next up is this big Mama Jamma. This is the Zero Tolerance 0551 folder. This thing is just a tank. LMAX steel blade, and just look at that. It's monolithic. Just I don't look how thick that titanium is. It's like twice the thickness of the Chihuahua, or maybe like 2.5 times the thickness. It's ridiculously thick. Even against the Lone Wolf's liner, which I consider a very thick liner, it just absolutely just ridiculously thick. Very, very thick titanium, and that just gives a lot of strength. And when I first picked up this knife, and I still feel this about this knife, but it's actually a lot lighter than it looks. It looks like it weighs a pound. It only weighs a lot less than that. But it's actually not all that heavy because you do have a thin titanium liner, and also because titanium is lighter than steel. I think this is a steel liner. Sorry about that. And I think they also skeletonized the inner liner in here, so that helps a lot with the weight. They skeletonized it pretty heavily. It's a little thick for EDC. and a very chunky knife. I love the finish on their ergonomics are really nice so far. But I just can't get over how thick that is. It's ridiculous. When I got this knife, it was actually really sticky. But I've been opening it and closing it a lot in the past couple of weeks or so, and it's smoothened out smoothened out quite a bit. So, a very, very nice knife. Really cool brick G10 there and the LMAX blade. The last one, this last one right here is just one I'm absolutely out of my mind astounded with. These three knives out here, I mean, all the knives I've gotten recently, I feel like have been home runs. I've really been impressed, and I'm happy with my recent purchase. And the last one is this DPX Hest folder, and this is the production model. And this knife is probably, you know, in the few days that I've had it, I think less than a week by this point, it's easily entered the top 5 knives, my top 5 knives. This thing is just absurdly cool. Super smooth action. I mean, just buttery smooth. Opens up. Beautiful blade shape, 3.1 inches of D2. Thick blade stock, but with a full flat grind, comes down to a very thin edge. Beautiful stonewash TI side. Love that clip. Love that roto block. The only thing on this knife in particular is I might send it in because it does have lockup issues. You can see here if I push on the blade, let me focus on here. If I push on the back of the blade, I don't know if you can tell, but the liner slips a little bit. Now I knew about that before I picked up the knife. I got a really good price because of it. I will either send it, I'm giving it time to wear in. I'm going to give it about 2-3 weeks to do that. If it doesn't wear in, I'm going to send it into DPX. And once I get a new one, I know it'll be my favorite knife. This thing is just really, really cool. Wave feature too. Beautiful jimping. Beautiful Ranger Green G10. And I still can't get over how gorgeous that titanium lock bar is. Just that stonewash just really turns me on right there. I mean, this knife, even though it has lockup issues, I mean, once you put on the roto block, it doesn't move or anything. So, beautiful low carry clip, and you got all those really cool other features. You got the glass breaker, you got the hex driver, you got the the wire strippers up here. You got the bottle opener here. Just so many cool features on this knife. And actually, I don't know where I put my Mr. DP tool. I don't know if you can still hear me. I'm kind of looking for it right now. I didn't prepare it. I should have. But that's also definitely a very cool little multi-tool that you can use to adjust the pivot and do a lot of stuff on the knife. But also just, it's a cool thing to have. So here, those are my first impressions on a couple knives. Hess Folder 0551, Lone Wolf Longhorn, the Spyderco Chuckway. And I gotta say, I'm really impressed with all my purchases. I've been getting into the bigger folders recently, and I haven't regretted it one single bit. So, that's some new knives I've gotten. Just phenomenal pieces. But now I'm going to have to go into sort of a hibernation mode for buying knives because I have bought so many recently. I definitely need to sell some off to make back the cash. So, anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you guys have a great day, and see y'all later. Peace.